Cannibalism. Could you eat a whole human being? With the help of a doctor, a scientist and a chef, I set out to see if it's possible. Cannibalism. Part 11. The Yummy Bits. Thighs and buttocks are the go-to hunks of meat that all cannibals love, which makes sense. Joachim Kroll, known as the Ruhr Cannibal, was a serial killer, paedophile and necrophile who savaged at least 8 women and girls in the Ruhr region of Germany from 1955 to 1976. Slicing off steak-sized cuts from each of their buttocks and thighs, with some girls being as young as 4. He claimed it was a tender meat, and serving them with carrots and potatoes, he said he did it to save on grocery bills. As a sadist, it's likely his motive wasn't financial but sexual. But with thighs being packed full of calories, 13,300 for those on Steve, our average UK male, it has the second highest calories of the main muscle groups, with roughly 15,500 for the buttocks, 7,400 for the biceps, 4,500 for the calves, and just 1,700 for both forearms. But what are the tastiest parts of a human body? As seen with the Ruhr Cannibal, the buttocks known as the gluteus maximus are the largest and heaviest muscles in the body. Said by Ugandan warlords to be flavoursome owing to their intermuscular fat, it has a balance of tenderness and texture, being rich and gelatinous, and ideal for slow-cooked stews. But as Heriberto Lazcano, kingpin of the Los Zetas cartel, knew, stressed meat makes for bad meat, as stress increases its pH level, making it darker, firmer and drier. As a mad Mexican who loved roasting his enemy's buttocks, before being murdered, he made them bathe for 2 hours. He gave them whiskey to reduce their adrenaline, and then he served thin slivers of their backsides as tasty tamales on toast. The tongue is said to be soft, tender, with a luxurious taste, according to a Ugandan vendor in Lugazi, where human meat is sold. As a 3-inch long, 1-inch wide muscle weighing roughly 100 grams, the papilla and mucous membrane are said to give it a light crackling when seared. And although a favourite of Russian serial killer Andrei Chikatilo, who severed his victims' lips, nipples and tongues with his teeth, there's no solid proof that he ate them. Famously, fictional serial killer Hannibal Lecter preferred a person's liver and their sweetbreads, and many chefs agree. Sold in high-end restaurants, sweetbreads refer to the thymus gland, a vital part of all immune systems as it trains the T cells. Called sweet, they have a mild, less savoury flavour than lamb or beef. In humans, it weighs just 40 to 50 grams, and situated between the lungs and behind the breastbone, it is suggested it is really creamy, with a smooth and velvety texture, like oysters. An unnamed surgeon suggested that the best muscles to eat were the face, as being used for chewing and emoting. Unlike our skeletal muscles, they are thin, soft, rarely tear, and have a low fat content. And with 30 muscles on each side of the face, the best could be around the jaw. Back in 2012, Rudy Eugene, dubbed the Causeway Cannibal, was shot and killed by police officers as he ate the face, including the eyebrows, the nose, the cheek, some of the forehead and the left eye, of fellow homeless man Ronald Poppo. With drugs ruled out as a cause, and with no known motive for his cannibalistic crime, hunger was ruled out, as unlike with many supposed cannibals, an autopsy was able to determine that Rudy had no human flesh in his stomach. The cheeks are said to be the meatiest parts of any sheep or cow's face, having evolved for grazing, but with human cheeks being between 30 to 65 millimeters thick, they would hardly make a sufficient meal. the eating of another person's face is likely to be more symbolic than a culinary choice. Like in 1995, when Marinaldo de Alcântara Silva, a Brazilian farmer, shot his own mother following a long dispute. He then decapitated her, ripped off her eyes, lips, nose and tongue, and then ate the pieces. But what's lacking with cannibals is class. Jeffrey Dahmer ate his meat with ketchup. Issei Drahab, the Skara cannibal of Sweden, murdered his girlfriend and ate the flesh of her arms and legs, which he pan-fried with salt and homegrown cannabis. And Nathaniel Bar Jonah, the prolific child molester and suspected cannibal, was said to have served the meat of a child at a neighborhood barbecue. But eating human flesh needn't be so uncultured. According to Damien Caston of Candid Wines, there are many suitable wines for each piece of meat, stating, "I guess the uncooked face is chewy. If there's no time to braise, I'd need a ton of acidity to cut through the meat, so I'm going to drink a young Grand Cru Riesling." For the delicacy of the brain, the grey matter is paired with a Chenin Blanc. A liver wouldn't suit a nice Chianti, as Hannibal Lecter suggests, as it's a little too light for the fattiness of the liver, so a Barolo would be a better choice. With a sweetbread suiting, the Lopez Malbec owing to its cherry flavours and aromas, whereas other sommeliers suggested a Pinot Noir for the cheeks, a Shiraz for the tongue, and beer for the nose and lips. Interestingly, Nick Palise of Saltbox Dining suggested for the flesh, "I would pick a meaty person, a tobacco smoker, someone who enjoys berries. Basically, the lazier the better, they're more tender, so I'd stick to couch potatoes and video gamers." But when questioned, many medical experts agreed that the best human meat to eat was the psoas, also known as the loin muscles. Situated inside the pelvis, they connect the legs to the vertebrae, and being almost fat-free, once the tendon is removed, they are soft, tender, and regarded as the human filet mignon. And with only 40% of humans having a psoas minor, for cannibals, that muscle would be a rare delicacy. So, you were wrong, Jeffrey Dahmer. The filet mignon of human meats wasn't the thigh. And so, being a scumbag, you probably threw away all the best bits and washed down the thigh with a god-awful beer like Budweiser. Yuck! Join me tomorrow to uncover what are the worst parts of the human body to eat.